one-way talk for about 25 to 30 minutes. Then for 5 minutes, I'll explain the Prerana Batch inputs and we'll try to keep around 25 minutes for QA. But in case you have any questions, you can start putting them in the chat so that I can cater to your queries also at the end of my talk. So side by side in chat, you can put your queries, and we also have a QA session at the end for about 20 minutes. I can see some very familiar faces, some new faces, and I'm always happy to meet new people and engage with them. So welcome newcomers to Gyan Prabodhini and the seasoned members of Gyan Prabodhini who are smiling. I can see their faces. I know them very well in and out. Mains exam was over on 31st of August, and then it's almost 5 weeks, a full month has passed. And we waited to start this Prerana batch because there was an MPSC examination, and it's a very good lead examination, and it could be a good plan B also. So we waited for that. And hence, since it got postponed, we decided that we need to start with our inputs because some inputs that we will be discussing, they need to be practiced a lot. They don't take much time. So in spite of your other obligations like MPSC examination or some other examination and preparing for next year's mains, you can start working on the interview aspects. And that's why we started with the today's informal and open session. Don't worry about your MPSC score. There are always surprises, or I should say shocks, and on the positive and negative side both. Sometimes you are not very much satisfied with the attempt and you get a good score and you qualify for the interview. Other way also happens, unfortunately, that you are very much satisfied with your writing and somehow due to the subjective nature of this examination, it doesn't click and maybe you are not in the qualifying list. But still, interview is a personality test and you need to keep on preparing for that side by side, giving less time but a conscious effort so that not only for this interview of UPSC, but in your tenure, your career also, and in your life also, you get that enrichment and you get that benefit of developing your personality in a focused, in a directed manner. And today we'll discuss just the brief outline of how to go about it. But in Prerana Batch, we go thoroughly and in detail about all the different inputs. So that was the first point. Even if you have a mains improvement plan that you are not satisfied with your performance and you are sure that you are going to appear for the mains again next year, some of the interview inputs, especially regarding the content and the thinking ability, I'll talk about that, are certainly useful for your improved attempt if required in the next mains. So that way also the inputs for personality tests that we plan, they become beneficial. If you need to go for another attempt, maybe after interview you don't get a rank that you wish for, and hence you again need to appear and improve your mains margin over the cutoff. For that also, in my opinion, the Prerana Batch inputs are useful. So in all that sense, in all your UPSC journey, this will be a very useful, beneficial program for you. I will be focusing on three aspects, 3 plus 3, 6 points I'll be talking about in today's session very briefly. So first is, what is this test all about? All of you know that. I'll just run through it quickly. But it is a stressful situation. It's a 5 versus 1 situation. 5 stalwarts, unknown people, could be intimidating personalities, faces. कोई सरदार जी होगा, कोई साउथ इंडिया से होगा, will have different accents and style of speaking, and you face them for the first time alone for 30 minutes. So it is bound to be a very, very stressful situation. But with practice and with certain tips that we'll be talking about, you can easily handle it. And instead of having a fear of that process, that interview, or that sometimes we feel ki it is going to be a scrutiny of our personality, it's not like that. That approach you need to change and look at it, look forward to uh, going for the interview with a positive mind and interacting with those 5 people who are sparing very important 30 minutes of their time for you. So it's an opportunity to reveal your personality for which you should be confident about. So the first part is the content part. What is the interview content could be? And obviously it is DAF, detailed application form, with which the panel members will start. The chairperson generally starts the interview, and after the result, you will get DAF 2, detailed application form 2, in which you have to write about your prizes, medals, hobbies, leadership experiences, and extracurricular activities. And that is generally the starting point. And hence, writing DAF is very important. That is a major content. And in particular in this section, hobbies and prizes, medals, experiences, extracurricular, you need to be very careful about each and every word. So that type of DAF writing sessions will be having uh, after the result when you actually go for DAF 2 and the format comes. But in DAF basically is your personal information. So that is first part of the content. In DAF, you tell about your graduation. And in case your graduation subject is different than your optional subject, in that case, you need to prepare for it because optional you have prepared content-wise for the mains examination a few weeks back. But graduation might be a few years back. And hence, you need to work on your graduation subject a bit because sometimes that is caught upon and 10 to 15 minutes of discussion also has gone into your graduation subject. So that is the second part of your DAF. DAF also tells about your home state, your home district, and your hometown. So the location where you are, that again creates a trigger, and that also you need to prepare a lot, knowing much about your district, your city, or your town, and your home state from the point of view of important issues that are faced there, social issues, economic issues, maybe even political issues. So from that angle, you need to prepare the home state, home district, and hometown. That is about DAF. The second part of interview content could be personality questions, or they are called as HR questions. And they are hypothetical questions, they are situational questions like your ethics case studies, but now you are answering face to face. So you need to be very careful about preparing for those personality and HR questions. And a very common question asked to everybody is why civil service? And uh, added part is that in spite of getting a good graduation, a professional graduation, like engineering, medical, or agriculture, why do you want to shift to civil services? And रटा हुआ आंसर सब लोग दे देते हैं, but every word in this answer is very important. So these HR or personality questions are there, and most importantly, current events, and that you need to be continuing with reading the newspaper even after mains, reading the editorials, making important points, not only from MCQ or factual, informative point of view, but more and more analytical point of view, more and more opinion point of view, because interview is all about opinions. You have to take a stand and defend a stand in a very effective argument, which requires critical thinking. So read the newspapers, read the current events, link it with whatever theory you have learned in GS 123 and ethics, and you are optional. And this core and current combination should be reflected in your answers, which will give a depth to your answers. So it is not an information exchange. You are revealing your personality, your abilities, and hence in the content, especially on current events, you have to be thoroughly prepared. You cannot say that I haven't read that thing or I don't know much about it. I don't have any opinion about what Trump is doing or Erdogan is doing or whatever Netanyahu is doing. So you have to be working on your current events a lot and regularly make it a habit. That is the important part. Now, content, you will get lot of support. On our mentoring group of CAs, Mahesh Bhagwat is my student from COEP. So on that group, we are so many mentors and a lot of information is coming there. So don't worry about content. Content inputs will be available everywhere. In fact, you will be bombarded with over content to sometimes. And how to digest it, how to absorb it, how to study it. So much of content will be there every day, including editorials from so many newspapers. So content will be available. Most importantly will be how to process it. So that will be my third point. So first point is content on which the interview conversation. It is not a question answer thing. It is a conversation. You are interacting will take place. So that is the content part. It will be on your DAF, which includes your graduation and home state. Then your optional. Then HR questions and most importantly current events linked with all this. Okay, so DAF discussions happen a lot. Many classes and our group also will go for DAF discussions with you people, and you can generate a detailed question bank based on the triggers in your detailed application form, and a lot of support help is available from seniors. So creating content, creating a big question bank is not an issue. Making it small, making it precise, making it more useful, making it more customized to your background will be a challenge. And that also will consider in our Prerana batch on one-to-one discussions on your DAF, which are the important triggers and how they could be, the question banks could be customized to your own requirements. So content is first part. Second part is the delivery part, and which is the most important part. How you deliver the content, because many times I get a feedback that all the questions were anticipated. Many of the questions I had answered in mock interviews. Many questions were discussed with Mahesh sir or other mentors, and hence you are very comfortable while answering. But somehow that delivery didn't come that effectively, and hence you got an average score. So in spite of every question being prepared and being understood properly, you get an average score of 160, 170 marks. You don't cross 190 or even 200. So for that, I would suggest that your delivery matters a lot. Your answers do matter, but how you give your answers, not what answers you give, matter much more than what answers you are giving, because it is not an oral examination of your knowledge. It is not an oral examination of your content, of your information, but it is a personality test. So what comes under delivery? The first important part is your voice and your body language or your expressions. So which reflects your calmness, your composure, your confidence. So the inner intangible things, qualities in you need to be reflected in the delivery. So I'll just go through quickly what UPSC objectives are for the interview. In the advertisement, you see those objectives. I have divided those 9 or 10 qualities into two parts, tangible parts. So what is tangible is your interest in current affairs. So that content you have to prepare. They are looking for your interest in current affairs. It has to be all-round interest in every type of issue: political, economic, environmental, social, cultural, science and technology related. So all sorts of current events, your interest matters. They are looking for that. But that interest is with variety and depth. So the depth into that, it comes through your GS preparation, your optional preparation, and your thinking on those current events, linking current events with the core GS theories and principles. So that is the second part. It comes out, it is a tangible part, it is visible part in your delivery, in your information or what you say as an answer. Second is intellectual qualities, which are that way intangible, but it is easy to recognize from your uh, behavior, from your body language, which is mental alertness. So, how do you listen to a question? It is a very important thing, because I have seen students when they listen to a question intently. One of my students, he is a GST Joint Commissioner now, gets a frown. He used to get a frown here when he used to listen intently. And that creates a distraction. It doesn't look good. It is not a good mannerism that you look at the panel with a frown on your head, right? So some such habits you need to be careful about. But how you listen to the question is very important. How your facial expression is very important. Your body language, whether you are steady or you are making certain movements, is also very important. And most importantly, your voice. It conveys the conviction of your answer. It conveys the confidence that you have inside. So mental alertness. Second is clear and logical exposition. And third word is balance of judgment. These things could be made out from your answers and from your body language. So these are, again, they become tangible when you speak, when you give answers. So these are all tangible things which are visible to the panel members in the interaction. But certain invisible things which they are trying to judge, again, in the content, in the answer, and in the body language, in the expression, in the voice, are ability for social cohesion and leadership. Now, how do you evaluate that in a 30 minutes interaction, which is a conversation on certain content? So, social cohesion, ability, leadership qualities, you need to reveal that. And for that also we'll have certain Prerana inputs in which, in a given question, which looks ordinary, how to generate a extraordinary answer. So your responsibility increases. The panel should not try to dig into your personality. They will ask normal questions. They will ask maybe ordinary questions. But then it's your responsibility to get a good score, to impress the panel, to reveal your personality, through which you show your ability for social cohesion and your leadership qualities. And lastly, and most importantly, the intangible thing is intellectual and moral integrity. These are words from UPSC advertisement. How do you reflect your integrity? You know 50 words, 100 words, maybe a full essay of 1000 words about integrity, about probity, about prudence. All these word terms are known to you. But how do you behave with integrity? How do you respond with integrity? How your content comes out with integrity, moral as well as intellectual, is again requires a lot of practice. So these are the things they are looking for. And in the delivery of the content, some part of the content needs to be modified, prepared, created as per these requirements. And some part of the content needs to be delivered as per these requirements, through which they can see into your personality and understand that you have a leadership quality, you can have a social cohesion type of ability, and of course integrity. So that is about delivery part. Now what happens is, I have seen so many mock interviews we take for last 30 years, and maybe hundreds of students I have seen, many of them officers. Of course a majority couldn't get through. But then in the mock interview, if you have a borrowed content, if you have a mugged up content, when we ask a question and the person responds with a facial expression, we immediately recognize that he is getting comfortable because this question was asked in some mock interview. Nowadays, people give 5, 10, 15 mock interviews. They are freely available in Delhi. And you just go to a hotel, go to a floor and enter a room, and then they take your interview. But mock interviews are useful to some extent. I'll talk about that later also. But the negative part of that, overfeeding of content, overfeeding by some seniors, and over mock interviewing, it results in you becoming too seasoned to reveal your spontaneity, to reveal your personality, to reveal your creativity, to reveal your critical thinking. And it becomes a question answer type of oral examination if you give a ratta answer, if you give a mugged up answer. And that is immediately recognized that this answer is practiced, has been given earlier, and now it is just repeated. And we don't know anything about your personality through such a information exchange, right? So you need to curtail your inputs also to some extent, and instead of depending on outside input a lot, you need to generate content through reflection. I'll come to the methods also, but that is one risk, that since so many people are ready to help you, spare time for you, you start becoming dependent on them for content as well as for questions, which questions could be asked, and even answers, what answers I should give, which is correct, which is wrong. It is nothing like that. It's a personality that matters. So how you give the answer, nobody will tell you. You have to practice it. Nobody, if you get a ready-made answer, just try to modify it as per your thoughts, your emotions, your beliefs. Okay. So that is very important. One more point I had in mind was, mannerisms is also very important in delivery. So on delivery, you need to prepare a lot. So content, you will be flooded with content and lot of support available. Delivery, only way out is one-on-one, some interviews and mock interviews. But beyond that, you need also to practice the delivery a lot in various ways. In Prerana Batch, we have a session on voice culture by a famous Marathi actor and dramatist, and body language. And if you work on that for 1 or 2 months, it is sufficient to give a positive impression to the panel that you are a confident person with good, firm voice and a good conviction in your answers through your facial expressions also. So that is the part you need to start working on: your delivery, your voice, your body language, your facial expressions. Many students don't afford to smile in an interview, and they have to actually coax into a smile. Please, can you smile? Just show us that you can smile. And then they easily smile. So they have a very good smile, a very effective smile, a very pleasant, sweet smile. But somehow during that thing, they assume that no, smiling is not allowed. But all these small things, which are mannerisms, which shows your inner qualities, they need to be practiced to some extent to change the habitual inhibitions that you might have developed over the years in your school, your college, or your UPSC journey also. So personality is not something which you develop in these next 2 or 3 months. You have a personality. You have developed it since you were born in your family, in your school, with your peers, with your teachers, with your college, and UPSC journey mates also. So personality you need to understand, and then you need to actually deliver it. You need to reveal it. You need to show it. So that is the thing we are trying to develop in the available 2 or 3 months. We don't develop the personality, but we understand how to project it. So third point about preparation, how to prepare for interview. Content, you know what is the content, delivery, what is required, you also know. Now, how to prepare for that? So we have a lot of group work, and that really helps. So it is, in fact, better than mock interviews because it is a lead uh, item where you are comfortable. So a group of friends can come together and interview each other. And we plan those with different content and different groups also. So group discussions, group interviews, group debates, they are very useful because I'll tell you, they develop your thinking. Second is a lot of technology could be used. So audio recording, video recording in your mobile, self-recording, self mode pe, selfie mode pe, you can do that. And just observe yourself. And you realize that certain habits, certain expressions don't look good. And you have to come over that. So that technology could be of lot of help. Most importantly, the point I want to raise is in preparation is you need to understand yourself. What do I mean by that? Because there are certain uh, ways, there are certain frameworks in which you can profile your personality. And we use three such frameworks in Prerana Batch, which gives in a framework how your personality looks. And those frameworks give a direction for improvement also. So when you know the frameworks, you need to put yourself into that framework and see to yourself through that lens, knowing yourself. Okay, so that is the first thing, know yourself. Then whatever comes out of that, you need to accept it. Accept yourself. That is again very important. Sometimes you have got false impressions about your personality, wrong impression about your personality. You are overconfident sometimes. That also needs to be understood. After that, that personality, you need to project, how to project the available personality, how to project your strengths, and how to guard your weaknesses. Once you understand the SWOT of your personality using various frameworks, you can do that. And then in the available 2 or 3 months, how to develop that part, how to cover the weaknesses, how to come over that, and how to sharpen your strengths and then how to project them. So this self journey can happen in 2 or 3 months. Understanding a framework, knowing yourself, accepting yourself, and then projecting yourself and improving yourself. This process can happen. And for that, to develop yourself, I'll give you 4 terms. Okay, so the first 3 terms were first was content, delivery, way of preparation. I'll be giving a very detailed talk in how to prepare module of Prerana Batch. 2 talks I'll be giving, and 3 more will be given by Rajiv Ranade sir, Mukul Kulkarni, and Sanket Wage, IS from Chennai. These are the 5 how to prepare sessions we give. But to develop your personality, there are 3 important ways. First is visualization. So you try to visualize yourself in different situations, in interview situations, and try to play a shadow, make a shadow effort, a shadow practice. That is again very important. Secondly, experiences. When you have certain experiences and you narrate an experience, it becomes very lively. And the most important quality we are looking for when we take interviews after interviews, it becomes very boring. And hence, if that is lively, if you get a good candidate who is lively, who is conversing with us, and who is giving us some good time. So, what is basically interview? You are creating a 30 minutes audio visual experience for the panel members. In our from our side, a person is going to come and gives us an experience for 30 minutes in an audio visual manner. How you look, how and what we talk. So when you are creating that, if you want to make it lively, your experiential learning matters a lot. So your bookish learning. So if you narrate an experience, it becomes very effective and very lively also. So we have a lot of experiential learning to develop your personality and your projection of the personality. And third and most important is deliberate practice. The word deliberate is deliberately used. It's a term, it's a jargon. And deliberate practice means understanding your weaknesses and strengths and working to improve on the weaknesses and to sharpening of your strengths in a systematic, in a scientific manner is deliberate practice. So your weaknesses could be in terms of knowledge, skill, and attitude. I'm coming to the end of my first thing. The most important weakness I have observed in Maharashtrian students compared to North and South competitors is language. And even if you take Marathi medium, just to speak in Hindi, and then we lose our confidence. Okay, so for that, start practicing language as early as possible. Am I audible? I'm getting unstable connection message. Yeah. Thank you. So language you need to work upon. Voice and body language, I have told you need to work upon. So there also you need a deliberate you. Don't try to act like a Shah Rukh Khan or some Kohli, Virat Kohli, just because you want to show some attitude, right? Your personality and your attitude should match, and that requires a practice on voice culture and body language also. Of course, you need to practice on your content also. And the last point, uh, 2 points. Last but one point is you need to develop your prelims, means an interview are three totally different types of examinations. In prelims, I call prelims normally as it's a 1 day match, 2 papers, right? And there your temperament matters a lot. Your temperament matters a lot. 100 questions, 120 minutes, which question in which sequence risk to be taken or not. So temperament matters a lot in prelims. In mains, your technique matters a lot. How you answer, how you write, how you present. But in the interview, your talent comes out. Your talent matters a lot. And in prelim, even if you are giving MCQ, you have time to think. You can spare 1 minute, 2 minutes. In mains also, you can plan the answer in 20 seconds and then you can write the 100, 150 word answer. But in the interview, there is no time lag. It's a spontaneous answer. You can ask for a pause of say maximum 15 to 20 seconds. You can generally, naturally take a pause of 3 to 5 seconds so that you don't irritate the panel members. And within that, you need to give the answer. So when they are asking a question, you need to be focused. You need to understand the question. You need to understand the crux of the question and the demand of the question. While doing that, you are generating content in your mind. A lot of content is flooded actually. You are selecting content which is appropriate for the answer. When you select the content, you are articulating it and sequencing it. And all these things is supposed to happen in a few seconds. And you deliver a well articulated, well argued answer to the question. So this requires a lot of practice. This is the thinking you need to develop. And this very fast thinking you can develop with certain practice and certain techniques also. There are system 1, system 2 and other theory part also for thinking fast and slow. You might have read the book by Kahneman. But developing a very fast thinking in this direction to generate an answer to a given question, which is effective answer, requires a systematic, scientific, deliberate practice. And that also we'll try to conduct together, maybe in groups also. So you are developing your analytical thinking to understand and explain cause effects, critical thinking to take a stand, to make an opinion and defend that opinion, and creative thinking to give a solution, to look optimistic, to predict something way forward. So all this analytical, critical, creative thinking needs to be built. You have that ability, but it could be systematically built in a fast way if you do it with deliberate practice, with conscious practice. Okay. So that is one output of the deliberate practice, that your thinking ability will improve to improve your content delivery, everything, your answer also. And the last important part is deliberate practice to improve your self image. I touched upon that in self acceptance. But I have seen that some people are a bit over comfortable with their image, and they think that yes, I can take anything in my stride, any panel I can impress easily. Don't be that complacent, don't be that overconfident. And other side is more often seen as a little inferiority about your personality, about your image. So if you don't have a good self-image, how can you project a good effective image as a future officer in front of a panel, right? So that creating your self-image, creating that positivity, it should start as early as possible. And hence we are starting a bit early before the result, that this is a lifetime achievement or lifetime importance thing, that you have a good self-image with understanding of your lacuna, your weaknesses. But that doesn't affect your self-image or your self-worth or your self-respect. If you respect yourself, the panel will respect you. Then the interaction will be conversational and more effective. Right? So to build that self-image also, there are certain techniques of personality profiling and understanding, and most importantly, experiential learning helps a lot. When you go to a district, interact with the people there, interact with the system of governance, the collector, the ZPCO, the SP there, because we arrange such tours. And when we meet them and see the challenges and how they are dealing with the society and the economic and social issues, that not only creates a live experience, but that creates a self-worth feeling also in you. And that is, in my opinion, is a very important thing which needs to be built. So whatever personality you have developed throughout 20, 25, 30 years of your life so far needs to be properly packaged, properly, and in you can also build on and then very effective in the inter so that the whole process is successful. So the point that uh, addition to building your thing, you need to build your also for a good product. And these two most important, self-image or your and your thinking ability. Outward thing, one is the inner thing. These two can be brought about effectively through experiential learning, through deliberate practice, through effective visualization. The techniques that we use in the Prerana batch and with the groups also. So these are the certain points I wanted to tell about a general way of preparing for the interview. In the chat, I can see only 2 points, but I don't know whether they are questions. Yeah, there are certain questions. I'll have to go for that also. But before that, a small comment on the Prerana batch. I think I'll just tell you. We are having it in 2 phases. The first phase starts on Monday. It will be online, offline, both. If you are in Pune, you can come to Prabodhini, and it will be hybrid mode. We can broadcast the sessions, and we'll have how to prepare modules, 5 sessions, then experience sharing by interview uh, toppers and others also. Those who have got good marks and those who have got not so good marks, they will be sharing their experiences, and then we'll have group interactions, group interviews. So you sit on the other side of the table as panel member, and you interview someone, and then you understand the flow of question, the flow of thinking, etc. from both sides. So 3 modules till the result, maybe another 6 weeks. Result might be out by mid-November, and then we have modules on personality profiling, very important modules. In the first month after the result, we'll have DAB discussion. We can assign personal mentors to you. We have got a big network of 1,500 officers in MPSC, UPSC, about 100 plus officers with more than 20 years of experience. And they spare time for our students. So we can assign suitable mentors for you. We'll have mini mock interviews, DAM discussions also, and full mock interview before you go to Delhi for your final interview. So this will be after the result. But most importantly, as I told you, we are having experiential inputs in visits to various offices. We'll visit the Pune Commissionerate, Municipal Corporation. We'll go to the SP's office. We'll go to Collector office. We'll go to ZP. We can visit a district or even a state. So many Marathi officers are working in Odisha and Tamil Nadu and Gujarat. Whichever state you feel like going to, we have got our contacts there. And they can always help you and spare time for you. So this type of understanding the system will definitely add a value and add a liveliness, add a genuineness to your answers rather than the bugged answers. So we arrange district, block and state tours and even a village visit also as a part of preparing for the interview. It is part of experiential learning and knowing the system also. Okay. So these will be various modules in the Prerana batch. Details, I think, could be put on the group later on. What else? Yeah, these are the points that I wanted to discuss. Let us go for some questions. I have taken maybe 10 minutes more, but the first question is about.
Just a minute. Chinmay, can you just stop the recording and start again so that we have different sections? I have